Hey everyone, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Hope you guys are doing well. I know it's been about a couple weeks since I made any update video or shown any records lately, so I guess there's reasons for that. You know, even before my last video, it's kind of mourning. A close family member of mine passed away recently, so took a little break from that, you know, as far as record listening and record purchases. So, and then the Thanksgiving holiday, I had like 5-6 days vacation, so I just kind of used that time well. Didn't do much, but that's the good thing about it. Didn't have to get up for work or anything. So but besides that, didn't do a whole lot of listening as far as like spinning records, you know, since I was away. But definitely got caught up streaming stuff and catching up on some videos as well. But I do have a few records coming in as well that are, you know, not necessarily psychedelic, but more ambient, kind of minimalist driven records, which I have one of them here at the house so far, but kind of waiting for the other two to come in so I can just talk about them in one video. But that might be next year. We'll see. But, you know, since December's here already, I got some plans to do, you know, my top 10 of the year finds, as well as it's the 2-year anniversary where every 2 years it seems I do my psychedelic record collection, and this time it's going to be volume 4. So just kind of do like a slideshow style, showing the album covers of what I've picked up in the last 2 years. So, and it's kind of awesome to see all those covers displayed, what I've picked up, what I've sold. It seems to always change. So I've been picking up some damn rare stuff lately. I mean, might even conclude this year picking up that 45 of Damon. So it's I've already made some good down payments on some sales I've made recently, so it's looking good. But anyways, got lots to talk about. You know, I might make one more trip video as well before the year's up, so, you know, might be slowing down on some videos this month, but those are what I got planned so far. But let's move into these records here. So, like I said, kind of a broad streak of things as far as like the styles go in this video. Excuse me. But this first one here, I forgot to show this like a whole month ago, back when I went to Hastings, Nebraska. Except I found this in Grand Island. Same day, I went to Grand Island as well and found this at the Goodwill. Didn't know what it was, but it looked interesting until I looked it up, and it sounds like it was featured in the Acid Archive book, and it's got a very small entry, but it's in there. So I picked up this record by Jesse J and the Bandits, 65 Top Teen Hits, and that's basically what this is. You know, it's a cover band covering all these hits at the time from 1965, roughly, maybe a couple years before that, some of these hits, but get a good look at the tracks there. Love Potion Number 9, Putella Clark's Downtown, The Jerk, Boom Boom, John Lee Hooker track, and I'll Be Back by the Beatles. I don't know all the original artists, but I do know they kind of imitate some of the songs from the time too, like The Crusher, but they kind of redo it in their own rendition as King Crusher. But I uploaded some clips onto my other YouTube page, Cosmic Minds, if you guys want to check that out. The way to get there, I added the videos onto the Discogs page if you want to check the tracks out. Those are probably like the best tracks, but honestly, this whole thing was awesome. I was kind of taken aback by how good this was for a covers record. So, you know, they are cover songs, but the way they present them, it's kind of in their own renditions, you know, kind of in a more garage pop vein. And it's not like super, you know, raw, rough garage, but it's definitely got some kind of jagged, rough edges to it, which I kind of appreciate. You know, it's not like crisp, clean-cut pop tunes. And they basically designed these, like it says on the back here, today's top hits designed for rec room parties and teen hops. And this just gives off an aura of like, I can just imagine teens like after school getting together on a Friday night, going to the rec room or a teen hop and just listening to these in like some, you know, checkered floor dance hall or something, and they got like a little turntable booth and some guys spinning this record. That's the kind of visuals I get listening to this, and it's pretty good. It's kind of got some frat rock or whatever that term was, kind of like the Kingsman sort of style. But like I said, there's some bangers on here. I've been listening to Downtown on repeat in the vehicle since I've uploaded it. You know, it's a little bit of a rough copy, as you can hear on the video, but you know, Goodwill find for $1, 50 cents, whatever it was. Yeah, it's kind of rough, but it plays. It's on the Recar label, and the Asset Archive entry lists that this band apparently backed up, what's his bucket? The Jack guy, American Graffiti guy, Wolfman Jack. I couldn't think of his name, but yeah, I got it in the sleeve, and I think this is going to be a keeper. I quite enjoyed this, so you know, it's nothing really. Anybody else would just think it's kind of, you know, run of the mill, but I really enjoyed it. But moving on, this is one I got a pretty good deal on eBay recently, and I've been kind of staying off eBay lately. Just can never find good deals. People always overpay for shit. I kind of sign off, but this one was a buy it now for 40 bucks. Spirit of Elijah, Wilson McKinley, or the Wilson McKinley. I think this is that's their first album, right? But they had a few others after this one. The one they had before this was under California Poppy Pickers, which is like one of those budget exploito labels on Alshire. But this one is definitely a step above that. As you can tell, it's got some ring wear and some issues. Someone scribbled into the middle there, but kind of took a chance on this. I mean, for 40 bucks, there wasn't very much details on the condition, except, you know, the picture it looked pretty clean. And this was definitely better condition than I expected. So as far as like the wax goes, I just probably got to get this a little cleaned up here, but yeah. No marks really. It's got some surface noise here and there, but pretty solid overall. And yeah, so this is definitely a heavily regarded Asset Archive, sort of Archive It sort of piece, which was another catalog book that talked about all the Christian psych-related kind of material. And yeah, so this is basically a group of West Coast hippies up in the Pacific Northwest. I think they're based out of Washington State, Spokane maybe. And this is very much kind of dead style West Coast rock, but just to, you know, Christian sensibilities. But some of these tracks, I don't know if they're all cover songs. I don't think they are, but the first two tracks, He, is actually the He track from the Wow album by Moby Grape. But they just changed the lyrics is all. It's kind of interesting. And then It's Up to You is a Moody Blues track as well, which I totally would have never knew hadn't someone told me, but very, very cool. Sort of San Francisco-based hippie rock, you could say. It does get a little heavy in spots, a little twangy, definitely kind of folk rock driven, a little bit of Buffalo Springfield influences, you could say. Side 2, they definitely amped up the reverb. They've even stated that in interviews I've read with one of the members. I guess they pushed the reverb on the second side, and it kind of gives it that outdoorsy, sort of backwoods, live kind of vibe on here. And I love that cover too. Those sort of hue colors of purple and blue sort of tint to it. So never expected to own this anytime soon, but I was like, I can't leave that behind. That's such a good deal. Typically, I think these run for near $100 or so, so figured I'd never see it again for that price and that shape, so it's a good one to check out for sure. Even if you aren't so heavily, you know, if Christian rock kind of sounds like it might deter you away, musically, it's just, I mean, the vocals are so drowned out on that record. It's kind of got a low production sound to it, so, you know, the lyrics, you'll definitely, they just get drowned out in the mix. But this next one though, so these next three last ones here are from Vintage Vinyl. So I've been stopping in there a couple times this week. Just stopped in there yesterday, picked up 2 more, and then this one I picked up earlier this week. Didn't know I was going to pick it up because he was had just dropped in the shop. And what do I have to say about this? So, you know, I guess I don't really fit in with the same club of people that share these kind of records. I mean, I make fun of these kind of people that precisely only make Beatle related videos, but I was missing a copy of Revolver, and I can't even tell you the last time I picked up a Beatles record. Had to have been 10 years ago, because I have some Beatles records, but you know, I'm not like a hardcore die-hard collector like some of these people that make videos. But you know, I give them a lot of crap, but for me, I don't get excited when people talk about the Beatles all the time. That's just not me, you know. But if that's your audience, good for you. I don't want to be a part of it. I did need to pick this up at some point because this is kind of a genre-breaking classic. I mean, there's no denying it. Just look how crisp this is. So look how beautiful the spine is. Like, that's amazing. No seam splits. You know, it's got a little bit of wear naturally, you know, since it's a cheap Capitol pressing like all their records are. Yeah, and I gotta say, man, here in the US, Beatles fans really got ripped off, I think, you know, omitting 3 tracks from here onto the previous record, Yesterday and Today. And just for considering how short this record feels with those 3 tracks missing, Capitol was just really banking on the Beatles name, and I think that's kind of, it's not really something that I take lightly. I don't think that's very cool, but anyways, this wax is really good. We just cleaned this, but there's already a little bit of fuzzies on it. But yeah, this disc is immaculate, man. So Jeff Emmerich's recording techniques on this are just all over the place. You know, considering it's like first full-on project here, does an immaculate job with the mixing. I mean, the strings on Eleanor Rigby are so close to those strings, man. They're just right up in your face when you listen to it. And but some of the biggest tracks for me, some big favorites of mine, Love You Too, really showcases, you know, George Harrison, probably my favorite Beatle, taking you know, a lot of Eastern philosophy and you know, bringing the sitar in. You can definitely tell they're going kind of down this acid trip with that song. And then She Said, She Said's really one of my favorite pop numbers on here. Taxman, of course. And then, of course, Tomorrow Never Knows, man. Just a mind-melting track that just still sounds fresh to this day. It's pretty remarkable. The Beatles just had everything on their fingertips with this one, as far as wanting to have a little more of that extended freedom in the studio. You know, since they were kind of at that point done touring, they just had a lot left to present to the world, for sure. You know, I think a lot of people probably prefer the mono mix. I'm here or there about it. You know, it's not like the best studio rendition. I think, you know, my CD remaster from 2009 sounds a lot better than this, but, and considering it's Capitol Records, you know, I think they used a lot of recycled vinyl or something. I mean, their pressings with almost every record is just not up to snuff, really. Of course, you know, that artwork too, man. Who could go wrong with a little bit of that? So, is it my favorite? It's definitely up there, probably my top 3. I'd always kind of said the Yellow Submarine soundtrack was my favorite, just for that side 1, but I might have to say Magical Mystery Tour is kind of my go-to, but this is probably a close second or third. So definitely, definitely glad I scooped it up finally. I have seen another really clean stereo copy in the past, but I just kind of passed on it at the time. It's not my #1 priority, but spotted it there. We listened to it in the shop for a minute, and I thought, I'm sold on it. You know, it's just definitely time I should own it by now. So glad I did. And then these last two. So I haven't really dove too much into the lore or the music itself too heavily here, but they were definitely ones that I wanted to pick up down the road. So this one is Fraser and Debolt with Ian Gunther. This might be a Canadian gathering, I think, as far as I remember. I think they might have another album too, but so when you look at this cover, you know, it kind of comes off as like some sort of, you know, the Carpenters Go Country or something. They just look kind of like a happy couple or something. But from what I remember, I only gave this a spin once last night, you know, off and on, listening to it as I was doing other things, but kind of sounded kind of dark in spots. It sounds like it kind of had like a On the Fringe kind of thing. Paid about $9 for it, and I think that's about the going price, right? But you know, it's not the best copy. It's definitely worn, definitely played, but sounded fine on the turntable. And yeah, I got to give this another listen. I've always heard people talk this up quite a bit, and kind of want to get reacquainted with it. I think it's kind of a more, kind of a dark, contemporary folk with a little bit of a rural vibe. I don't quite remember, but I do remember it being better than what the cover leads you to believe. So I'm going to check this out. It's on Columbia label. Gotta probably get a different sleeve for it, but yep, I think this is one of those cheapies for $10 you can pick up on. So yeah, I got to report back on this maybe. Same as this one. I hadn't even unsealed this one yet, but I spotted this in the shop a long time ago, and you can tell nobody picks this stuff up there. But yeah, I kind of figured, well, maybe I'll pick it up some time down the road, and I was trying to remember what that record was, and then I was kind of flipping through, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what it was. Goldberg with Misty Flats. This is a reissue. I think it's on Now Again. Is that right? Or Light in the Attic. Yeah, it's Light in the Attic related. Future Day recordings. Now Again. I don't know why I was thinking them. But yeah, it's kind of got a thick sleeve here, thick jacket. Yeah, this is Michael Yonkers related, and they recorded this up in Minnesota. I think this is like early 70s, 74. And I hadn't listened to it in a while, but I do remember it being kind of bleak, kind of a downer folk, contemporary folk kind of vibe. And it was pretty minimal playing as well. I don't think there's very many drums that I recall. I think it was just very much acoustic driven. So got to give this another listen as well, kind of report back on it. But yeah, the reissues of this are really cheap. I think they're going for $10 on average, so it's not really a big seller, which is okay by me. So I can acquire it, but yeah. Sorry I couldn't give you much background on that one yet, because I, like I said, haven't listened to it in a while and don't know the backstory very well, so I'm gonna see that's all about this next week, hopefully. But anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Sounds like people are drag racing outside. I don't know if that's picking up on this mic or not, but God, that's annoying. I'm like trying to make these videos, you know, it's like I just want everybody to shut up outside. And it's not even that noisy or busy of a neighborhood. People just make all kinds of noise whenever they feel like it. Yeah, like I said, those ambient records, I'll be sharing them down the road. And I'm going to be doing my top 10 of the year, which I think I'm going to go LP style, even though you guys know I picked up some heavy 45s this year. I'm going to do an LP style though, and then maybe I'll share those at the end, some 45s, but that's all I got to report on today. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we shall see you down the road.